You can advertise your business on Night Dreams Talk Radio, and you will be heard worldwide. Why not contact us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com.
Do you have a paranormal story you want to share on Night Dreams Talk Radio? You could be a guest. Email us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com.
You're listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio After Dark with our host, Gary Anderson.
And that is me, along with my great buddy, James Kirschbaum. And I'm going to give a number. I doubt if anybody's going to call in because they're not used to calling in on the show. But if you want to call in and talk about Jim Penniston, the number for the show is 1-253-203-6695. I want to bet you don't have a color crayon or a paintbrush or a pen or pencil in your hand. So I'm going to say it again. 1-253-203-6695. You can call in and we can, bring you on. We can talk about it. Well, James, how you doing, my friend? And are you staying out of trouble?
I am blown away by hearing from my buddy Jim Penniston. I mean, it's been years of this story over and over, and finally, it seems like every minute of my life second led up to this moment, and it was fantastic. I was blown away by some of the stuff. And you know what? I got a feeling it's tip of the iceberg. There's much more coming and further shows.
Oh, I got a funny feeling. You're so right. I remember listening to him on Art Bell many moons ago. Talking about going into that forest, the lights moving around, the two security personnel with him kind of like becoming statues. And can you imagine whatever it affected them, just froze them in time. They are statues, not realizing what's going on, not moving, not anything, just standing right where they were for all that time. That's really interesting.
It is, and my goodness, I'm telling you, I really think there's more there that he don't even know that happened to him, because there's them patterns, and I've been studying this a long time, and just being on this show with other guests, there's patterns. I'm a big seer of patterns, and that missing time and memories, or lost memories, and fear of night and going to bed. These are all patterns, and they mean something.
Oh, they do. I'm just wondering what went in his mind. I try to get a lot out of him on that, but he didn't really want to go into it because I got a funny feeling that still bothered him. Could you imagine you're going out into a forest, regardless how tall the trees are, you're kind of secluded, right? You're going where a light came down. And you think that a plane or something, crashed. So you're out there, with your two buddies or cohorts in security looking for a crash site. You leave your weapons in the vehicle. So you have no weapons on you, nothing for protection. And you run across a UFO, regardless if it's unmanned or manned or whatever it is. He didn't want to use the word UFO, but it's an unidentified flying object. It flew there, it landed there, it took off, so it's unidentified. But just think about it. Your two cohorts are there, but they're statues. Now, in my mind, I'd be so freaked out, James, that these guys are frozen. Why am I still able to move around? I'm checking out this craft. I'm noticing this, had a tail fin on it. I noticed the size of it. I noticed what it goes like. It feels like glass, smooth. And then it goes to, kind of feeling like a rough type of texture to it. And then you run across symbols and you touch it and you have these bright numbers pouring in your head as you're touching it. I myself would be peeing my pants.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just there's so much more going on there. I got a feeling we're going to find out a lot more in another show, in 2 or 3. I mean, I just do. And you're so right. And there's more patterns you just mentioned there. People freezing. and seeing feeds and portals. I'm thinking, and he mentioned those places around the world, and they make these things weak points and strong points. It kind of lines up with theory of portals. There's no evidence to this; these are just theories, but I've sure seen enough evidence and research that I can line up a lot of dots on my own. You know what I'm saying? But there's so much more to be learned there.
Oh yeah, can you imagine? The portals out there, and they. Maybe that's how they jump into our time, maybe coming from another dimension, coming from another solar system. We don't know. Again, hey, if there's somebody out there, and I know there's a lot of listeners, that I do know because my instant messenger off Facebook has been going crazy with all the people, tuned in tonight and telling me they were listening. You can certainly give us a call at 1-253-203-6695 and tell us your feedback about what happened in that forest. And maybe you might have some different feedback than what I have or what James has. But, think about it. And then, the other security guy, all of a sudden comes to, right, after the craft is gone and still sees it in his mind. And takes off running and going through the farmer's pasture and all that stuff, and is totally, undoubtedly confused what's going on.
Yeah, and again with the who's to say that? Well, obviously they can manipulate time and space, or they wouldn't be here. Whether it's us in the future, interdimensional beings, or alien, whoever, they obviously have the technology to bend time, space, or whatever, time travel. So who's to say when he's in that bubble and he's seeing them other people, maybe they're moving at such a speed that they're really not froze. It's just there's different time and it's warped. And maybe they do that to manipulate things. Or maybe he was in a part of a portal. Maybe he's lucky to even come back. I mean, it's just there's so much going on there. There's so many different theories and possibilities. But again, I do see a lot of patterns with a lot of other guests and cases.
Well, I know. What I found interesting is whatever that craft, why it didn't get closer to the base. I mean, what was their reasoning to go out in the forest? Okay, away from people, other than maybe to lure some people from the military base where they could scan them or whatever they were doing. But those two guys were frozen. Maybe they were being scanned.
That's true. And I don't know if you've ever met it, but I've seen some different documentaries from a few other witnesses that came forward on a download thing. But supposedly there was some nukes there. And here's the other thing, like I kind of mentioned to Jim, that was at the height of the Cold War. Now, you would think at the height of the Cold War, military base, U.S. base, and there's something in the airspace, even near them, much less landing, you would think that you would have had a little regiment or something get out there and find out what's going on. But it seems that's why I kind of think, the powers that be probably know what was going on one way or another. And they're trying to hush it up, either because they know or to save face. Because, who's going to say, hey, we're the major power of the world, but we just got a craft landed close by. We don't know what we can stop. We don't know. But the other intriguing thing, there is actual evidence that it was on radar. That's significant.
No, that's what I mean. I wasn't surprised if it was unidentified object coming that close to the base and landing, and it was on radar. I would think they would have had their every person available out there with heavy weapons and all that stuff, because who knows, but maybe they knew what was going on. We just don't know. That's the whole point, is we don't. Maybe, I don't know. It's maybe they also, whatever it came down, had the ability to not brainwash people, but kind of, manipulate their thoughts. And maybe that's why there wasn't a whole bunch of troops there or anybody there to investigate it at the time, because they were told not to. And, I don't know. I don't know how advanced, if they were from our future or alien technology. I don't have the slightest idea, but maybe in the future, or if it's alien technology, they have the ability to do something.
I absolutely can't disagree with that at all. Another theory is maybe the reason they didn't all come out there with a regiment, because I would think, my goodness, the whole fort would come, half of them anyway. But maybe because like I said, they obviously can manipulate time and it's basically time machines, and they can do all this stuff. Maybe to us, we were there, seemed like 45 minutes, but they were actually there to them a minute. I mean, they can work things like this, because it just seems weird, again, that you wouldn't be hundreds of troops out there, something. That's just mind-blowing at the height of the Cold War.
That's what's in my mind. And what were these lights just bouncing around in the woods? What was their purpose to go out in the woods and scan for what? Out in the middle of nowhere, when there was a military base, which they probably knew, okay, it was just, a couple miles away. Why would they, or not even a couple miles away, a couple fences away, why were they just like bouncing the lights around in the woods and scanning the woods? That, it's something, there's more to this. And, I don't know. We have to, I guess what we need to do is tell people to go buy the book.
Yeah. Because there's like almost 40% of them pages are his endnotes. So it's stuff that he hasn't revealed. So it's going to be there. That's going to be good stuff, if you want to see it. But, another thing, there was high towers at that base. And like he mentioned, they kept them trees at a certain height. So those guys on those high towers have view of everything out there. And I would love to hear what they've seen. And I would love to talk to the guy that was on the radar. He must have had some hits.
Well, if they had the ability to freeze those two other security personnel, maybe they could have did the whole thing to the base too. To think about that, I mean, the technology is they could have, and they just purposely let Jim Penniston do what he did to give him information, and they basically froze everybody, and nobody realizes that. That's another possibility.
Right, and another theory, when he walked, he kind of mentioned it, he kind of walked into a bubble. So when he was next to that craft, maybe he was exempt. Everybody else was froze, but he was moving freely because he was inside that bubble. Kind of everything else was like space-time was warped. I mean, these are just theories, but they're very plausible. I mean, I can't prove them or nothing, but, we're still trying to figure this out.
I know. And you know what? Tomorrow, guess we got Bob on again.
Bob Chelsky.
Yeah, and he's going to talk about alien abductions.
Yeah, he's been on before. He's talked about some stuff.
Oh, he's been on quite a few times, actually.
Yeah, he's the one that we both got something in common, Florida and gators.
Yeah, where he used to go swimming in the canal till you realized there were gators in the canal, and they could have just walled him live. Well, he's going to be on tomorrow as our first guest, and then I have Ray Testy on. Now, he is one of the producers. He has a studio, and what they do is that they make fan movies of Star Trek, the original Star Trek.
Oh, are those the clips